Good morning, everybody. Maybe it's afternoon or maybe it's noon for y'all on the East Coast. Good to see y'all. Terry R, good to see you. Happy Cappy, good to have you here. We'll give everybody a couple minutes to float in here. I left that door open behind me and I forgot, but you know what? We're going to leave it. I'm setting up a specific streaming space, so I'll have lights and stuff behind me and everything. So that's coming too. Can everybody hear me okay? Should be hooked up. So as always, we'll kind of explain what we're going to get into. I was going to say tonight, but this morning, uh, we'll probably 20, 30 minutes. We'll go over what I like to call the Austin ambush. There's no specific name for this battle because it really is more of a Texas Ranger ambush. I hear you fine. Cool. Right on. You want to get all the specs out of the way before everybody starts piling in here. But it's a little known fort. It's this all happened in downtown Austin. I'm in Austin, so it's kind of a easily accessible story for me. But this all happened right down Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and into downtown Austin, where of course they have sushi restaurants and vegan tacos and all that good stuff. Maybe a couple miles, 2 or 3 miles from the University of Texas campus. And this all happened. I believe the city was still in its infancy, and it's just a really cool, unique story. I think something that hits home. It really demonstrates the brutality of the West and juxtaposes it with the finery of modernity. I don't know. It's early in the morning. That's the best I can come up with. Best tagline I can come up with. How's everybody's Saturday going so far? Got the mugs coming next week, guys. It's gonna be cool. Yeah, I just had a chance to put up a promo like 20 minutes ago, so I'm sure everyone is just getting the news. So we'll give everybody a little bit of a chance to come in. Sometimes I give everybody like 5 minutes and they're like, that's not long enough. So we'll let everybody kind of settle in for a second. But yeah, it's going to be a cool story, I think. I forgot to post the book that I'm taking this from. Noah Smithwick. So this is we're talking about Noah Smithwick, who we've talked about, gosh, several times before. He's a very important guy in Old West, and especially Ranger history. I got this from The Evolution of a State, which is more or less his memoirs. And every picture of him is as a very old man. He lived until almost the 1900s, I believe. But keep in mind, as we're moving through our story right now, that in fact, during this story, he was a very young man. What's up, Freddie V? Good to see you, man. Glad you all made it in. So, this is our first stream of the day. We were just going over this, but first stream of the day, going to be a little bit like a short story. We're going to talk about this crazy thing that happened in Austin. And then tonight we have Paint Your Wagons, which is brand new territory for me. I'm not sure what I'm going to see, to be honest with you. So I pinned Freddie's comment, not mine. It's a good comment, Freddie, but I'm going to unpin it because I got to put the book link up. Okay, so I'm pinning this right now. This is the link to Noah Smithwick's An Evolution of a State. If you don't have it and you are interested in Texas Ranger history, couldn't suggest it enough. Smithwick is just a seminal figure in early Ranger history. He actually lived with the Comanche for a while. He came out to Texas as a very young man, and just kind of joined up with the Rangers right away. And tons of early Ranger battles he's involved with. Great memoir. Like I said, if you're interested even peripherally in this topic, I highly recommend grabbing yourself a copy. And I've got a nice little map of Austin pulled up so I can show everybody where this is happening. Let's give everybody, I'm going to post a picture of Noah Smithwick as well here. So at least you can see what the guy looks like. Like I said, they're all, honestly, he looks pretty ballin'. He's got these like Old West shades on, which I think is pretty cool. Very like Wild Wild West, like the show or the movie. Let's see. Copy link. Where is that at? There we go. One Freddie. Space Cowboy, Guten Morgen. Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm posting a link to Noah Smithwick's picture right now. He's got old school, like, I don't know, John Lennon glasses. It's very cool, styling guy. But like I said, very young in his early mid 20s when this story takes place. What are we at? We're about 5 minutes in. Cool. We can jump into it. So this story takes place, I believe, in the mid 18. Well, it's in the mid 1830s. It's hard to pin down an exact year. 1837 is where Smithwick lists is when Smithwick lists it, but he kind of does so with like a margin of error in mind. He's like, I think this happened around spring of 1837. The official story I've got, Smithwick says he's pretty sure it's late spring, March, or I guess that's mid spring, March of 18, late March of 1837. Smithwick and a contingent of Rangers are holed up in this fort called Fort Colorado. It's a little confusing because Fort Colorado, obviously, you'd think is in Colorado or something. This fort is just north of the Colorado River that runs smack dab through the middle of Austin. Now, today, if you've ever been to Austin, if you have, listen, I'm not its official representative, all right? So send your complaints to City Hall. But if you've ever been there, you know that there's a big river. It's a lake now in the middle of the city, like cuts the city in half, kind of. It's known as, it's controversial. It's either known as Ladybird Lake or Town Lake, depending on how long you've been here. But that lake wasn't there in the 1830s. It was the Colorado River that ran through it. And so the city was just as it is now. Downtown is just north of the Colorado River, just north of Town Lake. And just to the east of where the city was starting to be built and the city was starting to pop up is Fort Colorado. Now I'm going to have to, let's see, I'm going to share my screen with y'all and give you a rough idea of where we are on the map here. Google Maps, there we go. Make sure that pops up on the screen. Cool. All right, so where this is right official address. The marker is still there. You can see it right there. Site of Fort Colorado. It's 5401 East Martin Luther King Boulevard. There's a little park here now with a monument. I've just looked it up online. I tried to find it once. It did not go successfully. It ended in me being stuck in traffic and slightly frustrated. But I plan on going back because now I've nailed down the exact location. Before I was like driving along Martin Luther King Boulevard and just kind of looking out the window. So now I've nailed it down. But you can see here, oops, lost my tab. Let's see. There we are. We'll zoom out. So you can see where the fort is there. It's a couple miles to the east, downtown Austin here. So late March of 1837, early evening, excuse me, early evening, just waking up here. Early evening, the Rangers are all just kind of hanging out in the fort. There's these big timbered walls. Talked about Fort Parker, which is not a Rangers fort, but it's the same kind of construction. Big timbered walls around it, bunkhouses inside, and lookout stands on the corners of the fort. So these guys would, you'd have a sentry posted, but everybody else is kind of down in the middle of the fort, just chilling. Smithwick says they're playing cards, they're just talking, they're whittling. Some guys are eating, whatever. And Smithwick is playing a fiddle. To me, in all my recollections or all my study in the Old West battles and history, it seems like the one thing you don't want to do is play the fiddle. If you play the fiddle, something crazy is going to happen. So we saw this in our Colorado, the Great American Ranch Massacre episode where the guy is playing a fiddle and the Cheyenne attack. There's so many times where it's a fiddle and then something happens. So I would suggest not playing the fiddle, but 2020 hindsight, right? So Smithwick is playing a fiddle. It gets to be late at night, like well after dark. And then one of the sentries says, "Hey, I see a fire. I see some motion way down here." So they're a couple miles to the east. Let's zoom out. Yikes. I don't know if you guys heard that, but somebody's got their pipes cut on their truck. And there's a little knoll here in today's Austin. This is kind of a elevated area. And we don't have exact locations, but it sounds like I've delved into this quite a bit. It sounds like this is where they spot this band of Comanche. They're pretty sure that they're Comanche right off the bat because no one else is in this area. And they at least need to go They want to go check it out. And as they get, well, yeah, let's say this is where they're looking at, and you can see now it's let's see what else is down here. There's a elementary school right here, right across Redbud Trail. This is the area where it took place. This is Westlake Hills, Laguna Loma, Bee Cliffs. These are all multi-million dollar homes, especially along here along the lake. If you know a celebrity who lives in Austin, name them. They probably live in this area right here. Very, very well to do. There's Terrytown, another nice place. And right down, I got to find 6th Street, but there we go, right there. It is about a mile away from the new fancy HEB and maybe 2 miles away or so from the Whole Foods, right about there. Guys, it booted me right off. Sorry. I'm going to work on this Wi-Fi situation this week too, because I got full bars, so it shouldn't cut me off. Where did we get cut off at? Yeah. No, it didn't even freeze me off, Space Cowboy. Maybe that's what you guys saw, but it just plumb booted me off. Yeah, sorry. Gonna work on that this weekend too. Got a lot of projects. So where did I get cut off at? Can somebody tell me? Was I talking about riding past the McDonald's or you're back? I'm back. But can you tell me where I got cut off at? Westlake. Gotcha. Okay. So that was a little while ago. Sorry, guys. We're getting this worked out, though. We're getting this worked out. Show business, you know? So if I got cut off at Westlake, so Westlake right here, let's kind of break this down one more time. Westfield, you'll see this nice little golf course here. I don't know how fancy of a golf course this is actually, because I don't golf, but this is Austin's new fancy two-story, maybe 3-story HEB. Right down here is the Whole Foods and all of this. As you can see, Lynn Asian Lynn Asian Bar, dim sum, lots of fancy restaurants, lots of really fancy steakhouses and vegan tacos and everything down there. Nothing wrong with the vegan taco. I'm just saying. So yeah, if you're over here, the Westlake area, everything along the Colorado River here, Laguna Loma, Westlake Trails, all this stuff. If you have heard of a celebrity that lives in Austin, whatever, right? Rogan, Armstrong, Lance Armstrong. I don't know about Elon Musk, but they all live in this vicinity. Most of them live in this vicinity. And the battle, the ambush we're going to talk about, takes place right about here to the best of my discernment. He doesn't give an exact location. He just says at a bend in the Colorado River, there was a knoll, and it wasn't a high knoll. It was just kind of a rise, and that seems to be right in here. So when they spot these fires burning and see, you can see some movement. They can't tell who it is, but they can see movement in the dark way over there. And they have spy glasses and stuff, so they're able to see at least some movement and some flickering flames. You know what, guys? I'm gonna check and make sure that's still going. What's up, Elite Super Grunt? Good to see you. One. Freddie says Westlake. Cool. Got that. I was at Whole Foods, says Happy Cappy. I've been there, man, 2 or 3 times, but not that many times. I'm an HEB guy. All right. So just making sure the chat's actually working. Going back to our little map here. So they leave from right here, right? This is East Martin Luther King Boulevard. And they take off. Let's zoom out a little bit. The Ranger contingent, about a dozen guys, takes off to the southwest, and they're going to hit the river and kind of stay along the river. So they go past Austin Bouldering Project. They go past nice little McDonald's here. Let's see what else we have here. The High Sign Brewery. Several little trendy bars are on this East 7th area now. So they come down through here and right about where East Cesar Chavez is. We got several more bouldering places. Kimura Tatsuya, great restaurant, highly recommend it. Luster Pearl East. These are all hip spots now. Intero Restaurant. One in a Million, a famous taco shop. If you are in Austin, you got to go to One in a Million. But the Rangers, none of this stuff is there, obviously. So they make their way past all where these things will be. they cross the 35, which is an old buffalo trail, essentially. So it's still kind of a path. They cross that. They come right along this way. Sounds like down what would be either Austin's famous 6th Street or anywhere in between there, 5th, 6th, 5th, 3rd, any of those. Coming right through downtown Austin here, right by the JW Marriott. And then it's basically an all-night ride. It takes a while because they're moving quietly and it's a couple miles. So they ride all the way down the river and then kind of come up to these knolls where they start to see it's the Comanche. Comanche have been raiding in the area. The Rangers don't know it. This all happened relatively recently, so word hasn't gotten to the Rangers yet, but they can see when they get to about where South Lamar is now. So right around, let's see, this area right here where the nice YMCA is, right by the Whole Foods. When they get right around here, they can see it's a Comanche raiding party, and they've been celebrating into the night. Things are kind of dying down. It's very, very late in the night, like 3, 4 in the morning. Now guys are the Comanche are starting to pass out. They're starting to kind of tone down their victory dance because they don't know the Rangers are in the area. They think they're pretty much immune, and they're just on their way. As we've talked about many times, they're on their way up the Colorado River, heading north and then northwest, and they're going to hit the plains. And it's going to be a while before they hit the plains, but they'll hit the plains getting out of the hill country, and then no one's going to be able to touch them with whatever they've, procured from their raiding. So the Rangers are wanting to stop that, and they sneak up down what is around Lake Austin Boulevard today. And early in the morning, just as the sun is coming up, they creep through. You can see this thick brush. It would be very similar to this back in the 1830s, very thick. And, in this little clearing in that brush is where the Comanches are camping. So the Rangers sneak through that. They get off their horses, they picket their horses and crawl through this underbrush and wait until the sun is just starting to come up. Oh no, boy. Oh man, I'm sorry. I forgot to share it, dude. Sorry. That was like the whole bit. Okay. It's still early though. We're getting the kinks worked out before tonight. Okay, now everybody can see it. Sorry that a lot of you probably don't know, but okay, now could you see where I was talking about Westlake and everything? Westlake, cool, good. No map. You don't see the map. Sorry, Happy Cappy. Sorry, Elite Grunt. We don't see the map anymore. No, sorry. That was my fault, Jake Skywalker. My first mistake. Okay, can everybody see the map now? I'll go over that one more time. Real quick, though, so everybody can see the map. What we're looking at is Rangers came from all the way over here. Right there is where we are. Zoom out. So the Rangers are coming from all the way over here to right about here. They're working their way past all the fancy sushi restaurants, the vegan places, the steakhouses, and all that good stuff, which is not there then, obviously. I got too many tabs, guys. That's why I keep getting confused. So they make their way southwest. We're coming down to the river, and then they're going to hug the river through the night. And they're mounted at this point, but they're making their way towards these knolls over here in what is today Westfield. So the western side of downtown Austin, next to just south of where all the fancy houses are today. So they sneak up to the river. They follow the river. They sneak up to right about here, it sounds like, where the big fancy HE. They dismount, and I was showing you the thickness of the brush. If you haven't been here before, it's a lot thick foliage than you would think. So it looks about like this. Even from the top, you can see it's pretty dense, and the Comanche would be camped in a clear, let's say somewhere like this. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm pointing out. Okay, cool. Somewhere like that. So nice little clearing. The Rangers dismount. They sneak up through the very, very early hours of the morning. So the sun is just kind of peeking over the horizon. They get within about 100 yards of the Comanche camp, and they just kind of wait for the Comanche to start waking up because they're kind of groggy. They've been partying, and they all take their positions. And this is so indicative of frontier warfare and indicative of Comanche and Ranger warfare, because it's not going to be like a take up your arms and we'll call you out battle. it's going to be a straight up ambush, just like the Comanche would do against Texan forces. So they wait and wait and wait until the crack of sunlight. They see one Comanche who Noah Smithwick notes as a particularly large Comanche. He gets up and he's kind of like just, stretching out, walking around. They're getting ready to travel for the next day. And then boom, 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 boom. The Rangers open fire. Everybody's got single shot rifles and they don't have the revolvers yet at this point. So it is kind of like one volley of long rifles, one volley of pistols, and they just keep pouring fire into the Comanche until some of them escape, but most of them are unalived on the ground at this point. And this would be, just to clear this up, this would be right about here where the golf course is now, just south of the West Austin Youth Association. Wonderful organization, wonderful organization. And so this brutal, ruthless battle, I mean, you could think of it, to contextualize it, think of it like a platoon or a company of LRPs, like long range patrol companies in Vietnam, coming upon a VC village and waiting in the foliage and then sparking an ambush. It's nothing different than that. It's the same exact style of warfare, same exact attitude, but it just happened to happen almost 200 years ago, 188 years ago, right in the middle of a major municipality. Guys, it's harsh for me so bad this morning. I don't know why. I'm going to close the map. Maybe it's overloading it or something. I'm back. Can everybody see me? Sorry about that, guys. Must be Saturday traffic or something on the Wi-Fi. Says I'm still live. So I'll sum this up. All right, yeah. Sorry, Happy Cappy. I don't know what's going on. We got to soldier through. So I'll sum this up. Make sure. Did I get cut off? Where's the last spot I was? And I'll kind of take off from where I was. But my major point was the brutality of this engagement. Smithwick kind of mentions it as, we ambushed them and then, you know, then it was over. He doesn't spell out the brutality of it. And it's like, this would have been a horrific affair. This would have been very up close, very personal. One shot would likely not do the job. So you have to go up and then finish off each warrior who's wounded to whatever degree. They would strip everything of value off of the deceased combatants, off the deceased Comanche. So it's a brutal affair. There's no burial. They just leave them there to rot. So somewhere out in the hill country, probably around the new golf course or the new HEB, there's several skeletons likely somewhere. So yeah, it's just a brutal engagement that's mentioned kind of in passing in Smithwick's memoirs. But I thought when you break this down to its granular details, excuse me, you are looking at a brief but brutal piece of frontier combat that obviously just gets overlooked. A lot of people don't know about it. And a lot of people who visit Austin have no idea that it happened right near downtown. So a short but pretty brutal and worthwhile story, I think. And that'll be our episode coming up this Tuesday is the plan. So I wanted to give you a little preview. So at least when you're watching it, you can kind of visualize, even if you've never been to Austin before, where we're talking about. Like they're moving a couple miles to the west and kind of have a mental map for it. Hopefully your brain doesn't crash as much as the live stream has as much this morning, but just checking. Everybody can hear me and everything. We finished out strong. That's the story. So if you have any questions about the story, about my Wi-Fi struggles this morning, about tonight's stream, we're going to watch Paint Your Wagons tonight. And let's see what else we have. Like I said, this story we just told is a preview of Tuesday's episode. So if you have any more questions about Tuesday's episode, we have another, what do we have? I believe a Comanche episode coming out on Thursday. Several episodes, a bunch of live streams this week. So a lot of stuff coming up. If you have any questions about it or anything that we've covered this past week, hit me with them. And I'm going to go talk to the property manager about the Wi-Fi after this. Probably nothing she can do, but you got to make a stink sometimes. A polite stink. I think everybody's still here. Sometimes I feel like I'm screaming into the void if the stream crashes. So yeah, any questions, any comments on what we've covered this week? Wi-Fi is wanky. Yeah, am I getting at least a clear signal? I'm not getting a ton of I still have bars and everything, so everything should be good, but well, okay, you can hear me and everything. Yeah, it's odd too. This is supposed to be a short morning stream and having this is the most trouble I think I've had. Try closing some more tabs here. I'm good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. Like I said, it's show business, so stuff happens. I might be getting some panic texts from my friends right now telling me that we've crashed, but that's all right. So tonight, also paint your wagons. If you've seen Paint Your Wagons and you have any idea what we're getting into, let me know because I have not. It does sound like it's a musical of sorts. It is a rather lengthy movie, so I'm looking forward to delving into that. We'll have a nice long Saturday night party. That'll be fun. After a week like we've all had, we could use a party. And what I was going to run a poll. Let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to see an obvious question. Have you seen Paint Your Wagons? And guys, I know there's supposed to be quotations around Paint Your Wagons, but cut me a break, okay? I got a B in English. Regular English, not AP English. Billy Bobbery. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Billy Bobbery. Good to see you again, I should say. Let's see. We got 5 votes in already. 80% of y'all have seen the movie. Okay, okay. Maybe next I'll ask if it's good. And what's everybody up to on a Saturday? You guys doing anything fun between this morning's chat and this evening's live stream? I think somebody asked, maybe it was Terry R. asked if you could visit the site of Fort Colorado. You can. It's actually a couple hundred yards. The memorial is actually a couple hundred yards away from the actual site of the fort. But there's a nice little park. They've kind of got it set up where you can drive in, park there, look at the memorial, kind of walk around the area. It's pretty cool. And then the actual site of the fort it's really, this is why I had a hard time finding it because the actual site, there's a little marker for the actual site. And that's all that I knew about initially. And I was trying to find that, and it's just right on the side of MLK. So you can't stop there. So, yes, you can, right before you get to the actual site, there's a little turn in for the park, and you can go in there and check it out, which I think is cool. You can see the area and somewhere in that vicinity. Oh, yeah. There was 2 rangers during this skirmish who were unalived, and those rangers were brought back to the fort. And unfortunately, no, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm doing this off of memory. There was 1 ranger who was unalived in this skirmish. They brought him back to the fort and buried him on the grounds of what would be this little park, but we don't know where. And also another ranger who I believe passed away of some kind of illness during the prior winter. So this is the spring of 1837. During the winter of 1836, 1837, another ranger had passed away, and they buried him in the same, obviously, little ad hoc graveyard vicinity. So there are 2 Texas Rangers from the 1830s buried somewhere in that vicinity. And then half mile down the road, there's a famous laundromat and a McDonald's and a Jack in the Box. I had to take a look. I had to look at some of the maps to find out that this Colorado River had no connection to the more famous Colorado River. Man, that was so confusing for me when I first moved here. Yes, it's a completely different Colorado River, not the one that runs into the Hoover Dam. It's the Hoover Dam, right? So a different one, yeah. And it's even more confusing, right? Happy Cappy says, huh? Yeah, this is not the Colorado River that runs into the Hoover Dam. This is Texas's own Colorado River. It's 5:30 p.m. here. It's dark and gloomy. Looking forward to the chat. Oh yeah, Billy Bobby, you're in the UK, right? Yeah, that'd be right. You're 6 hours ahead of us. I've gotten pretty good at GMT. I'm learning the Greenwich Standard Time, or whatever it's called. Let's see here. But glad to have you here, Billy Bobby. How do you feel about Jaffa cakes, Billy? It's a point of contention on this channel. So it's not true that everything is bigger in Texas. You'd have to take that up with the Texans. You know what I mean? I'm not broaching that topic. Let's see. 50. Okay, you know what? This is a little more split than I would have thought. 56% of you have seen it, but 44% of you have not seen Paint Your Wagons. So interesting. Cool. We'll all get to 44% of you will get to watch it for the first time too. There's two Colorado rivers, says Happy Cappy. Yeah, at least that we know of. Maybe there's more in the continental United States. Terry R with the face smack emoji. Let's see. I don't know what that's in response to, Terry R, but is it in response to the everything's bigger in Texas comment? Some people do the face slap after that. But you have to understand that like Texas isn't a state, it's a cult, just straight up. So when you're talking to somebody from Texas, you're not going to get through to them. You just have to acquiesce to, oh, everything's bigger in Texas. Yes, just go with it, or you're going to be there all day. Well, you know, you can't go wrong with the Clint Eastwood movie, says Happy Cappy. You can't. I'm a little curious how we're going to pivot into a musical with Clint Eastwood, but I've heard some of his singing before. I actually thought it was pretty good. Texas is a great state, though. It is. Terry R says that it is, but like I said, it's more of a cult than a state. Texas is its own thing, says Happy Cappy. It is, yeah. And all within Texas, there are. It's like California. Don't say that too loudly, but there are many, many different Texases within Texas. There are many, many different Californias: Northern California, Southern California, Central California, the Sierras, the Diablo Mountains. There's many, many different little ecosystems within that state, and it's the same for Texas. El Paso is a completely different world than Houston, and Houston is a completely different world than Amarillo. And that does help to inform your understanding of the history because we're in Austin for this story. That's a completely different type of warfare and engagement with the enemy than would be a battle in El Paso and more mountainous country, or in Amarillo, where it's just you can watch your dog run away for a week, is the old joke, which is kind of true if you've ever been up there. Lee Marvin is brilliant in it. He makes the film. Oh, honestly, I didn't know Lee Marvin was in it. Okay, cool. So many of these old movie stars were like legit badass dudes too. Bronson, Marvin. I'm sure I'm leaving out others. Clint Eastwood survived like a plane crash into the ocean off the man, excuse me, guys. Just getting everyone's allergies here are just going nuts. But Clint Eastwood survived a plane crash just off the coast of Northern California. He crashed into the ocean and then swam to shore, which is nuts. I think somewhere around all right, California has its own Fort Bragg, right? Way up north in California, that ocean is crazy cold. It's full of sharks, and Clint Eastwood crashed into it and then swam to shore. Mr. Ballin has an episode on it. It's a crazy story. Let's see. Lee Marvin is brilliant. Okay, cool. Happy Cappy makes the point that they're pretty decent riders too. Yeah, John Wayne spent way more time on horseback than I ever have. Clint Eastwood, Lee Marvin. I'm trying to think. There was a couple guys that grew up on ranches too, but it's slipping my mind. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to the movie then. Had anybody ever heard of the story we talked about this morning, the Austin ambush? Good afternoon, everybody. Pennsylvania Plowboy says, I guess it is afternoon for the East Coasters. Good to see you, Pennsylvania Plowboy. Let's see here. We have quite a few chats. All right. Happy Cappy says it's 30 degrees where you are. Where are you where it's 30 degrees? Let's see. But yeah, has anybody ever heard of have you heard of Smithwick? Has anybody read his accounts? I pinned the link for the book at the very top of the chat there. If you are interested in any of this kind of history, I highly recommend it. Great read, pretty quick read. It's in the 19th century kind of vernacular, but it's not so dense that you can't get through it pretty quickly. Oh, Happy Cappy, you're in Kentucky. It's 30 degrees in Kentucky right now. I did not know that. Wow. Happy Cappy, have you seen our Boonesboro episode? Highly recommended if you haven't. I think that's our first foray into Kentucky history, and there'll be many more. I like Kentucky history. Plowboy, it's 34 degrees in Pennsylvania. What is going on out there? It's like, I don't know, 70 something here. Happy Cappy says, no, I haven't. Oh, go check it out. It's from a month ago. You know what? I bet you I can just put it in the chat here for anybody else that hasn't seen it. Because I thought it was a particularly, I say this all the time. Oh, that was a particularly good episode. Does that mean you don't think all your episodes are good? No, I think they're all good, but we don't do a lot of Kentucky history. So I thought this episode was fun to write and a good watch. Here we go. Happy Cappy, I'm posting it in the chat right now. I'll even pin it at the top here. Oh, I can't pin it without. Okay. Well, it's in the chat. I can't pin it. Let's see. Lee Marvin, scout sniper of the 4th Marine Division during World War II, was in the amphibious assault on Saipan. Yeah. Which is like heavy duty. I believe Charles Bronson was in action too. Yeah, I'm sure he was. I'm trying to think of who else. I believe Ben Johnson, if you've watched any John Wayne movie, Ben Johnson's the famous sidekick character, a real cowboy, I believe, a steer roping champion in the 60s, and he may have seen action too. I just found out that Bum Phillips and who else? Another legendary coach saw heavy action in the Pacific. Like Bum Phillips should not have made it. He was like almost everyone in his company was wiped out or casualty or KIA. So crazy how those guys, like so many of that generation, just saw heavy combat. Clark Gable, that's right. Yeah, Clark Gable. He was a pilot, right? He piloted the gliders, which is like, dude, I'll take anything but that. I'm not piloting a glider. It may have been Clark Gable, but in certain instances, the pilots of those aircraft, of the gliders, if you don't know about the gliders, it would be like a larger plane, a B-17. I might be wrong about the exact plane, but a larger plane would tow these gliders that didn't have engines of their own. They're literally just a glider. They're full of guys. One guy's piloting it. They would tow them on ropes behind the main plane, and then they would release the ropes when they got over the area they wanted to drop into. And you basically had to do like a controlled crash landing into the area. Many of them crashed. And I forget who it was, but somebody had broken their arms cranking on the wheel so hard, trying to get it to go the way they wanted it to. Just a brutal, high casualty job. I would never want to do that. Jimmy Stewart did. Yeah. Ronald Reagan. So many of that generation. It was just like so common, and they had to just kind of pick up and carry on after that. Let's see here. Checking the chat real quick. But yeah, so this should be a good movie tonight. And like I said, if you have anything if you've read Smithwick's book and you recall anything I'm leaving out on today's story, let me know. I can sneak it into the final cut of the episode. But yeah, I think the episode coming up is going to be a good one on Tuesday. I think you'll really like the Thursday one. Everybody likes Comanche stuff. Let's see what else. Yeah, we just got, you guys, through November, we are stacking them in there. That's for sure. And then obviously tonight's live stream, movie night. Tomorrow's live stream is going to be, I believe, just a nighttime live stream, but we'll figure out a good topic for that. Let's see. Jimmy Stewart was okay. I think I'm caught up on the chats. Is anybody also in Austin? You can go check it out today if you want. I just looked it up. Henry Fonda was in the U.S. Navy, huh? Is his daughter Jane Fonda, or like how did that? What's the family tree there? I remember at the VA back home. I was there with people that I knew, and but the standing toilets in the men's room have these like urinal cakes that had Jane Fonda's face on them, which I always thought was funny. Henry is Jane's dad, says Magic Keycast. What's up? So Henry served in the U.S. Navy and Jane Fonda served in the North Vietnamese Army, huh? Just kidding. Kind of. Yeah, if y'all have any topics, I'm open to live stream topics too. So If anybody has anything you'd like me to cover tomorrow or this upcoming week, the live streams are far more fluid than the episodes, so we can shift a little bit. If there's anything you guys really want me to cover, Magic Keycast. Oh, Magic Keycast, you're from the same town as me, and you know where I'm talking about. Yeah, you've seen the Hanoi Jane urinal cakes. Such a valuable history lesson in one trip to the restroom, you know? Like if you didn't know that, if you didn't know about Hanoi Jane and you went in the bathroom, used the restroom, you could come out with a whole new lesson on history. Yeah, to be clear, it's a VFW hall on Main Street in Merced. Been to many functions there. We did charity Thanksgiving dinners. I've seen many pro wrestling shows there. So it's a multifaceted venue. But regardless of the event that they're hosting, they have those urinal cakes out. Let's see. So yeah, any other topics you'd like me to see cover in the live streams? If you have any questions about what we covered, if you have any questions about what we questions about what we covered right now, if you have any questions about what we've covered this week, any of the stuff we've got in the episodes. If you haven't seen it already, go check out Sunday's episode. And was it Sunday? Gosh, I'm losing track of the days now, guys. No, it would be Thursday's episode. Sorry. We're legit turning and burning so hard that like I usually don't know what day it is. If it's Sunday, I know it's Sunday. But other than that, let's see. Henry also pet detectives. What do you mean by Henry also pet detectives? What did Henry do? I thought we could trust Henry. You can't trust anybody these days. Let's see. Thank you for all the hard work and the content, says Pet Detectives. My pleasure. My pleasure. Best job I've ever had. All my jobs before this were scrubbing toilets, scrubbing more toilets, scooping up animal poop. Seemed to be my lot in life for a while. Kicking out drunk people. Did a lot of that. That was fun. That really is fun, guys. That was the best part of the job. His son was the Easy Rider star, Henry Rider. Oh, Peter Fonda. Yeah, yeah. Dude, Easy Rider holds up. The soundtrack, the movie is a good movie. Full of weirdos. Full of weirdos. Don't get me wrong. But a good movie. You're talking about Peter Fonda, right? Pet Detectives? I could be wrong about that, but Peter Fonda's in Easy Rider, I believe. I've never been on a history live stream. I love it. Happy Cap. He says, well, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you. I guess there's not a lot of history live streams, so maybe we're breaking new ground here. Yeah, that's him, says Pet Detective. Yeah, Peter Fonda. Okay, cool. Even the cinematography from that movie holds up. The opening scene from Easy Rider is great. Yeah, it's got a great soundtrack, great characters. And it's something that you don't need a lot of contemporary knowledge for, I guess you would say. You don't need to know a lot about what's happening during that time period to like just enjoy the movie. Doesn't require a ton of foreknowledge, which are the types of movies I like. I don't like to have to do a bunch of research beforehand. Which hopefully, I think Paint Your Wagon sounds like that kind of movie, so that'll be fun. Yeah, if you have anything else going on this Saturday, let me know what you guys are up to. We'll go another 15 minutes or so, round it out to a nice hour. Like I said, got these coming next week. I keep trying to figure out how to show you guys because I only want to show the people who make it to the live stream the upcoming shirt designs, but I can't figure out how to share the picture. This has been like a 3 live stream problem. So we're working on that, guys. I'm trying to figure it out. I tried to pin the pictures in the comments, whatever. I'm trying to get your guys' thoughts on them though. I think they're a cool design. So we'll figure that out this afternoon as well. And let me know also, I'm looking for a coffee sponsor to some companies to reach out to. I'll reach out to Black Rifle. They're a little bigger, so I'm thinking maybe somebody a little bit more niche. If you guys have any coffee companies that you really like, let me know in the comments. Because then maybe we can set something up where we get a discount code or something, you know. But I think a coffee sponsor would be apropos of the stream. I think that's how you say it. I've got HEB. This is dark roast, but I got light roast and dark roast, depending on what we need. I keep a bag of each. I just found out the light roast having more caffeine is not necessarily true. So a little bit of a bummer, but because I like to know that I'm just jamming more caffeine in my system. But you can go light or dark roast, apparently. Coffee brand coffee. Talk to Jeremy. Oh, yeah, dude. I know Coffee brand coffee. I know Jeremy. I don't know him, but I know who you're talking about. Coffee brand coffee. Good suggestion, Elite Super Grunt. And coffee. Cool. I've seen Blackout Coffee advertised a good little bit too, but I've never tried their stuff. Coffee. Cool. Elite Super Grunt, what are you up to today, man? Hopefully just chilling. Yeah, everybody else, let me know if there's a particular brand of coffee you drink that you think would be a good show sponsor, live stream sponsor. You know what I mean? Laundry and chillin', says Elite Super Grunt. Hey, I get some laundry done too. Yeah, have any of you read this Noah Smithwick book? Seem like some of you might have because we have some ardent Texas history fans in here. But again, if you haven't, highly recommend it. There's like dozens of stories like this morning's story in there. And all these guys were really young when this was all happening. They were usually kind of retired from the Ranger life by 30, usually. I think Jack Hayes served into his early 30s, but pretty rare if they survived, obviously. And really the same for most of the Comanche that they're combating. It's usually they'd serve into their 40s as a warrior, but they're usually combating warriors about their age. Did you put his picture up yet? I put it in the chat, but I'll tell you what, I'll post it again. So I've got the I can't have two pinned comments at once. And the pinned comment up there at the top is his book, but right now I'm going to post a link to his picture here so you can get a good look at him. You know what? Let me just share it. What am I thinking? We'll go share. Noah Smithwick. Pretty cool looking guy. Check this guy out. He's got the shades on. Kind of chilling, you know what I mean? Looks like he could be on like a stoner metal album or something. Which I say with all due respect. But am I not right? Like that could be some kind of stoner metal cover. Everybody see his picture. What do you think? 1 out of 10. Cool looking guy, right? Give me a thumbs up. Cool looking guy or nerdy? What do you think? I think cool. And you can't really see the guy's eyes, but he looks like a dude you don't want to mess with. He looks like a dude who's seen some stuff. Oh, ZZ Top, Mr. Mia. I didn't even think about that. Good point. Good point. Like an old West ZZ Top. He looks like Charlie Daniels. Yeah, okay. I'm with that. I could see that. ZZ Top album cover. For sure. Yeah, no, I could see that. I was thinking more like the like sludge metal bands, like what is it, Weed Eater, something like that. I'm not a huge sludge metal guy, but it's got its moments. But I love the shades. What are those, like John Lennon shades, like the circular shades? Almost Neo, almost like the Matrix looking. Very cool though. I think there's a lot more cool old west fashion than we realize too, because everything's in black and white. But like even here in this picture, like probably a lot more colorful than we would think. Which, you know what I mean? I'm not a fashion expert, but it just goes to say that the old west is a much more vibrant place than most people realize. Which I think is important in understanding the context of the story because it kind of shifts the mindset. It shifts your understanding of the people's mindsets. Like they are just like you today. They want to look cool. They don't dress all drab, and they dress for utility as well. So They wanted to stay warm. They wanted to be comfortable, but they also wanted to look cool. That's never changed in the human experience. You're trying to attract the ladies. You know what I'm saying? For the guys, fashion. For the women, it was awful. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I think we can appreciate the modesty to a certain extent, but it is kind of like, again, there's a lot more color than we understand today. Like we're seeing black and white photos, so there's a lot more color, a lot more detail than we're able to discern today just from pictures. But I agree, yeah, it's not the best look. Same with the 1950s. It's like, you guys, I know this is what my grandma dressed like and looked like, but this is just not the business. This isn't it. You get home from the Korean War and your wife has like curlers all the time and like a weird neckerchief kind of thing. It's just not my bag. It's not my bag. All right. Anything else you guys want to chip in on contribute to the conversation on the as we're wrapping up to this morning's stream? Women were hot regardless, says Unreal Estate Agent. Hey man, like you know what I mean? There's somebody for everybody, they say. Billy Bobby says Bobby socks. Yeah, it's just not my vibe. The 70s, I'm like, whoa, cool. I can dig this. Some of the 80s, but the 40s and the 50s, it's like, guys, I know we got some wars to win here, but geez Louise. I haven't seen Paint Your Wagon. Oh, really? You have an Unreal Estate Agent? Well, join us this evening. Says 60% of you have seen it, but 42% have not. And that's surprising to me. I thought we were going to be looking more of an 80-20 situation. Yeah, you know, one last thing, probably not the most popular thing to say, but even like World War II, listen, it'd be better, in my estimation, to build less ships than have these girls dressing like this. I'm just saying, it's not a good look. Let's figure something else out. You know what I mean? Well, it's an old movie and it doesn't play often. True. Yeah, no, I guess that's why I haven't seen it. It's just a little bit before my time, and I've just seen snippets as I would walk past the TV in our living room and AMC would be on. Unreal Estate Agent says Drumbeat from 1954. I've never heard of it. I can put it on the list. We've seen a lot of 50s westerns available for free on YouTube. So that helps. Actually, I don't know. Before we get off, let's check if Paint Your Wagons is available free on YouTube. I actually haven't checked that. That's not part of my official history research. So Paint Your Wagon. Movie. Let's see. Paint Your Wagon is available free on YouTube with ads. Okay, cool. So I'll post that in the chat before we get rolling tonight. I used to watch it in the 70s with my dad. Not sure when it was made. The mid 70s, right? Somewhere in that around there. Have you seen Ombre? I have not seen Ombre. I'll put that on there too. Ombre. Okay. So I've got a good selection of movies to keep on the list. Walk the Proud Land, starring Audie Murphy and Jay Silverheels, is good. Another Audie Murphy, obviously, maybe the preeminent example of movie stars who served in World War II. Ombre stars Paul Newman. Okay. What time tonight? So tonight will be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll be going live. We'll be watching Paint Your Wagons all the way through. So buckle up. Have you seen The Homesman with Tommy Lee Jones? I have not. I'm a big Tommy Lee Jones fan. San Saba's own. He's from San Saba, right? So yeah, tonight I will post the movie at the top of the chat, like we've got the book posted here. And if you haven't been to our movie nights before, we're not able to show the movie on the screen or use the sound. We'll get hit with copyrights. So we'll post the link and we'll all start at the same time and we can all watch along. It's available for free, so much the better. If you haven't already, like the chat. I'm still getting my brain mouth connection to work. Like the chat, share the stream if there's anybody you know who's even slightly interested in history. Pet Detective says Audie Murphy with a salute. Yeah, he's the realist, man, of all the movie stars who served in World War II. He passed away in a plane crash, I believe, right? Tragic. But yeah, Audie Murphy. If you don't know the story of Audie Murphy, he should not have made it back. Relatively small guy too, who just went, man, full action hero in World War II. Medal of Honor winner. We talked about it before. If you win the Medal of Honor, you probably aren't alive, and if you are, it's a miracle. Maybe that's something we can talk a little bit more about next stream, because a fascinating story, and starred in a bunch of movies, married Hollywood starlets of, uh, and struggled with alcoholism. Just a real human story in American history. Let's see, make sure I'm not missing anything. We're coming up on the hour, so we'll start wrapping this up and get ready for tonight. And thank you all for joining me too. I just wanted to toss a little unknown story out there and give you a preview of what's coming up, because I think that helps in my thinking. It's like, well, at least if you've watched this when the episode comes out on Tuesday, you'll have some mental picture of where we're talking about, and you can follow the story a lot easier that way. Let's see. I call my granddaughter Audie. Oh, that's cute. It's a good name. I don't want to say Audie Murphy's name was cute, but the name itself. Uh, how many people get to play themselves? Yeah, Audie Murphy got to play himself in the movie about how he got his Medals of Honor. That had to be a trip, dude. That had to really kind of mess with your head. Sergeant Alvin York, yeah, America's Medal of Honor winner from World War One. I talked about this before, but I took a World War One class in college, and I talked to the teacher about wanting to write my paper on Audie Murphy on Alvin York, and she'd never heard of him, and she was teaching World War One history, which was just like, this movie is at 5 or 6 p.m. tonight. If it'd be 8 p.m. Eastern, and it would be 5 p.m. Pacific. If you get here a couple minutes late, no worries. You know how we do it. We hang out for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we jump into it. So, and everyone should be getting an alert half an hour beforehand. So, if you're not getting an alert, let me know, because sometimes you guys know how that goes. Sometimes the system doesn't work as designed, we could say. 8 p.m. for me, says Happy Cappy. Cool. Yeah, it should be a good time. I think it'll be a good movie. And it's always fun to point out what's historically accurate and what maybe is a Hollywood invention. But as always, we are very charitable with our interpretation of creative fiction stories here. So all that matters in the end is, does it get you interested in history? So we'll see whether Paint Your Wagons passes that test. Check y'all's notification settings. Yeah, if you want to be notified when we're going live or when an episode is posting, make sure you have the bell icon clicked in your YouTube settings. My nephew has the same birthday as Audie Murphy on June 20th. Cool. Yeah, a lot of people today don't even know Audie Murphy's story. Well, been fun. Got the load hay to catch you up to. Oh man, have fun with that, Pennsylvania Plowboy. Yeah, I got to get back to work myself here. We're going to get ready for tonight's live stream. We're going to get these episodes ready to go for this week. And I got a bunch of stuff coming up, bunch of shorts coming out today in the interim. So check those out. And I'm going to go iron out these tech issues, get some of these episodes ready to go, and then we'll settle in for a good movie night. So thank you all again for tuning in this morning. Now it's afternoon here, but always enjoy it. Can't thank y'all enough for all the support. And these are really, really fun. So glad to see y'all as always. So go have a good Saturday. We will see you tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you all again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. God bless.